Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we will discuss a village cricket match by A.G. Macdonald, 1895 to 1941. A village cricket match is an excerpt from his satirical work by A.G. Macdonald. England, dear England, set against a backdrop of an English village. The story is an amusing portrayal of a village cricket match witnessed by Donald Emerson, a young Scotsman living in England. The story begins with a description of the village in which a cricket match was to take place. Around the field, groups of village rustics were patiently awaiting the start of the game. The author says that the village folk were seldom impatient as their lives were so occupied in combating the eccentricities of God, that the eccentricities of men were not of a great importance. Blue and green dragonflies, swan, a magpie, and doves gave an articulate description of the village landscape. The world stood still awaiting the start of the match. After 20 minutes of three, Mr. Hodge, the captain of the visiting team from London, was making negotiation with the captain of the home team of Forbidden, as two of his players were absent. Just as the decision was made to play with 11 men on each side, with the fielders common, the two defaulters arrived with an extra man. Further decision led to the start of the match, with the 12 men of each side. This episode is a satire at the manipulations of the rules. Mr. Hodge sent his opening pairs to bat with James Livingstone, was a sound player. The other player's bone was an awe-inspiring coloss of a man. Donald Cameron felt that sending such cracks against the humble rustic was unfair, but reminded himself that he was not as an authority of cricket. Being a foreigner, the forbidden captain arranged his players among the desires, buttercups, dandelions, and sorrel, which grew in ambience of the uneven terrain. The terrain behind the bowler wicket sloped away abruptly, as a result of which the batsman saw the bowler blacksmith only during the last few of the latter galvanized yard. The writer describes the blacksmith as an mettlesome combination of Vulcan and Venus, anatomy as his strength equaled the combined power of the Rome god of fire and his wife. However, with Livingstone hit a four, the rustic and Hodge's team were shocked alike. The throw of a gaffer called for more drinks, as it has been a long since they had been jorbis. In comparison to the appalling velocity of the first ball, the second hit the wicket keeper and a substitute was called for. The third ball went for a six, but the fourth hit the stumps. The score remained 10 runs from one wicket. In these sections, the writer creates a great picture by drawing epic comparisons with the Roman gods. The flora and the fauna of the village create a mind image of the countryside, offering a contrast to the polluted cities. While the next batsman, a professor retired, heard Mr. Harcourt. The one after him had the singular misfortune of hitting the wickets himself and getting out. The scores all remained 10 runs for two wickets, with one injured and retired batsman. The next bowler was the local red collector, a man whose life was one of the infinite patience and guile. He dismissed the portentous Bond, who, uh, who, as the writer found out later, was into rowing and not cricket. The next batsman was the famous novelist Robert Southcott, a small and quiet man dressed in a white flannel, white socks, a pale pink shirt, and white cap. Southcott did not seem like a sportsman at all. When Mr. Hodge advised him to hold his wicket as runs were not important, Donald noted that it was a team spirit at work. He think that the rate of collector's first ball for a six into the hayfield. He hit the second into the silent bar for a six. The red collector third slow and crafty ball, which was endowed with every iota of finger spin and brain power that he held, also went high and into the square third stream. The red collector was baffled at the wild, unscientific bashing and feared with this his reputation with the villagers was at stake, as a result of which his installments would be difficult to collect. His third famous deliveries, the leg break, the fast Yorker, and the slow, had proved fatal. When his over was up, he was relieved for the Foster, a moderate bowler. A blacksmith who was injured at the insulting treatment meted out to his deliverers took the last ball of the over as a do or die situation. While some archers supported the blacksmith, some worshipped Southcott as a detail. Then Mr. Harcourt, a previously dismissed batsman, was sent for umpiring. The world held its breath as the blacksmith came charging. According to the writer, it was the charge of a Count Braden Dragons at Gravelet over again. Here reference is made to the events of August 16, 1870 during the Franco-Prussian War, when the Prussians were fast outnumbered by the French. Major General Friedrich von Breden led the Prussian cavalry against the French artillery and won the Battle of Maris-la-Tour. His charge is used to describe a brave attempt against the overwhelming odds. In this section, the author draws as a contrast of many characters, while Southcott is unperturbed and impatient and bears no ill will towards the other team. The blacksmith is an extremely passionate and aggressive player. The red collector's priorities are crystal clear when he shows he is more worried about his livelihood than the game itself. Being a person with a very pleasant sense of humor, Mr. Harcourt was tipsy while umpiring. He decided to play a prank of the blacksmith just when the gained whirlwind of volcanic energy rushed past him. Mr. Harkon, who was quivering with an excitement and inner laughter, saw that no ball. The ball slipped out of the bowler's hand and hit the person in the third slip, while he fell flat and screamed. The blacksmith himself was thrown off balance and fell in the center to the wicket, twisted this ankle, while the uncouth hold like an intoxicated bassist. Mr. Harcourt laughed it internally so much that he got hiccups. At that moment, Mr. Hodge asked Mr. Southcott to pay to play his new game. He returned defensive and hit only one run in the next quarter of an hour and was then declared leg before wicket. The score remained 69 for 60. Mr. Harcourt's demonstrable lack of respect was more out of his desire to be funny than any serious rivalry. The writer was skillfully taken the moments to a climax and then repeated it. Finally, Mr. Shakespeare Pollock came forward to bat. He was an American journalist who was new to the game. He struck the first ball towards square leg, after which he threw his bat down and ran towards the cover point after a paralyzed silence of the field. This is the short story of an essay written by A.G. Macdonald, A Village Cricket Match.